Holy crap, I can't believe how well this thing works. Hey guys, thanks for checking out this video. Can you believe it's been 2 years since we built this second version of my waste oil burning water heater, and I'm only testing it now? We're outside, it's a beautiful day. I figured, let's get this done. I've wanted to know how much thermal output this unit has, and I've wondered that for 2 years now. We built this with the intent to have a higher output than our first version, and I think we've succeeded. Today, I really wanted to get a test on this waste oil burning water heater 2.0. This is the one that has the stainless steel wart chiller coil in the top half of the chamber here. And so what we're doing is we've got just a vessel of water, and it's circulating it through that pump there, and then it's going in around and then coming out and back to the tank there. And the reason that I have that elevated is so that even if we lose pumping ability, we still have water above the heater, and so there is zero risk of that coil running dry. And that's a feature that's kind of present in many different actual boiler systems, and basically it's a safety function that you need to have just so that you can never have a run dry scenario. So I've got our control box set up. The PID is missing. That got repurposed for another project, but we do have it basically just wired out of circuit, so it doesn't really matter, and it doesn't for this. We have our oil pumping system. It is operable, and so I can use this prime button here. It basically runs the peristaltic pump as long as I'm holding the button. Otherwise, when it is just in run and it's off of electric, it's gonna dispense oil at a regular interval. So this increment decrement button here is basically how I can change the duty cycle on how much oil goes in. So it's like a 30-second duty cycle, and so every push of the increment or decrement moves the duty cycle up by 1/10 of a second, so 100 milliseconds. So if you push it 10 times, you'll get an additional or minus 1 second of runtime. So we've got this running here, and basically I think we're ready to go. We've got water circulating. We've got our fryer oil today. We're going to put some diesel into the combustion chamber, light it, get the fan going, and we're going to measure what the temperature rise is of this vessel of water here, and give us a pretty close approximation of how much heat we're actually putting into the oil. Alright, that took no time to light. Basically, as soon as I put a flame to it and turned the fan on, it started going. So it's running on diesel right now. It's going to take a minute or so to get to that fryer oil, but once it does, then we'll start to do some testing. So we're going to just check the water temperature here as a starting point. Ooh, 14 degrees. A little bit of smoke to start, but once we get this sucker up to temperature, that should clear up quite quickly. A little bit of resonance there, but that should stop once we get into a good burn of that oil. It's just that the diesel's burning more vigorously. It has a lower vaporization temperature, and it can actually burn a lot more rapidly, so that'll stop in a moment. So it's been 6 minutes since we did our startup, and it stopped that resonating sound now. So we're running strictly on the oil. All the smoke is just what I've spilled on the side and bottom of this thing, and that'll clear up soon enough as well. But it's running really well right now. So every so often you'll see this LED come on. That'll show that we are pumping oil into there. So there it goes. Probably about 5 seconds worth of oil's going in there. So it's running really nicely. We've already got water heating up here. So the problem for measurement in this bucket is that the water stratifies. So this top water here is actually probably close to 30 degrees already, whereas the bottom, it's going to be a lot colder. So it's going to be difficult to judge what the input and output is going in and out of that heat exchanger there. But I'm going to just try and come up with a rough measure, maybe get a bucket that we can just measure temperature and flow, and then we'll go from there. So what we're going to do for this test is see how long it takes to fill that 5-gallon bucket. Afterwards, we're going to measure the tank temperature, and then we're going to measure the outlet temperature, and then that differential with the volume that we pass through is going to give us a rough estimate on how much thermal output we are capturing with the burner. Well, and with that test, I've just shut it down. We're going to take a look at what we've got here. As you saw in the test, what I did is I moved this outlet hose that's coming from the heater into that 5-gallon bucket. When I did that, I started a timer, stopwatch timer. And then what I did is while that was filling into the bucket, I measured the temperature of the water in this larger vessel here. And then I measured the outlet water temperature going into that bucket there. And the calculation for the flow rate comes out to almost exactly 3 gallons per minute for filling that bucket. And with that, and then the temperature, or the difference between the inlet and outlet temperature, we can determine exactly how much heat this sucker's outputting. So it works out to right around 32,400 BTUs, which is actually pretty substantial, actually. I'm quite surprised with that. Our previous design was outputting right around, I think it was 28,000 BTUs, so we gained almost 4,500 BTUs of thermal transfer. And not to mention that this setup here is far more elegant, I would say, because that heat exchanger is actually just a stainless steel coil running through the top half of that waste oil burner, and that makes it a lot easier to circulate water into not just a old shop vac bucket here, but you could definitely run that into like a water to air heat exchanger. You could use that for heating a workshop. Well, I am blown away how well our water heater performs here. 32,000 BTUs per hour, and that's the thermal transfer into the water. Thermal output, I'm going to estimate, is probably around 80% efficient at best, and that would mean that this sucker is putting out 40,000 BTUs of thermal energy, and that's quite impressive. What can we do with that? Well, I'm thinking maybe some type of a shop heater, a water to air heat exchanger might be in order. That'll be in the next video, so keep your eye out for another one coming out soon. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.